We have breaking news developments tonight in the killing of Trayvon Martin. We have full police video showing the various angles of George Zimmerman getting out of the police car, arriving at the police station last night. George Zimmerman's brother gave an interview tonight in which he made statements very similar to the interview his father gave last night. And we also have a new witness emerging tonight with some eyewitness details and ear witness details of what happened. We're joined now by Farai Chideya. She's an author, journalist, and a fellow at Harvard University's Institute of Politics. Farai, we need fresh eyes and ears on this case here. The effect of this case and the way it's being both covered and perceived throughout the country is something that's hard to track, especially here where we're delivering this news to the country. What is your sense of the way this is being followed and what people are focusing on?
Well, one of the things I do is track social media and politics, and one of the first things I did after this case really started to gather some steam was to, if you go to Farai.com, which is my personal website, you'll see a Twitter map of basically where Trayvon is trending. And it's very notable that it's really trending coastally, not so much in the middle of the country. I think that has to do with patterns of news coverage and also with political leanings. And I'm really afraid that this case, you've talked about a lot of different testimony and a lot of it with, there's a lot of uncertainty, just to put it mildly, and a lot of conflict. I'm afraid that our country will get very divided. The politics have come up. George Zimmerman's father referenced the president. The president is someone who, when he was elected, people made a run on assault weapons, assuming that he would change gun laws. So I think that the last person who could make a really strong statement in some ways is the president. So I'm looking at it from political angles, social media angles, and also this should be, in the end, not just about justice for Trayvon and a question of prosecution of Zimmerman. It should be about the gun laws that exist in 20 states that are putting people's lives in danger.
Jonathan Capehart, I hate making judgments about George Zimmerman's father, or his brother in a situation like this. But there are things that happen in these cases, and you watch people come forward and you give their statements, and you have to make a judgment about it. This line he spoke, "I never foresaw so much hate coming from the president." Mm-hmm. It won't surprise you that he's a registered Republican. There was an ease in the way he made that statement and the way it flowed. I'm not suggesting that registered Republicans think that, but what happens? What happens in our politics when someone in that situation throws that bomb at the president?
Well, one, I don't know, and if you know, please tell me whether he just threw that out there voluntarily, or if that was in response.
Absolutely.
Or if that was in
he
response
was asked
to a
how he
question.
feels.
Well, then,
how do you feel? How's it going in the family? I don't feel good. I guess people would rather my son be beaten to death. I never foresaw so much hate coming from the president, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP. Every organization imaginable is trying to gain notoriety and profit from this.
How
do you feel?
Well, then that fits in with what seems to be this strategy on the part of the Zimmermans. Let's just put them all in there: the brother, the father, George Zimmerman, through the police, of deflecting. It's not about George, it's about Trayvon. It's not about George, it's the atmosphere of hate. It's the president. It's look away from us, focus on these other things. I have to say, and it's quite frightening, that the level of sophistication coming from the Zimmermans and how they're pursuing their own PR strategy is really quite frightening. In the face of now video evidence, in the face of interviews done on this show and other shows that has people looking at the television, reading the stories and thinking, this doesn't make sense. How can these people still say this? And I think maybe, Charles, you made this point at the beginning of the show. These folks are laying the groundwork for whatever prosecution comes, if it comes, down the road. They're making these very systematic statements, programmed statements, a script even, that down the road they think could help them.
Could I just say it's important for law enforcement to stay out of the issue of partisan politics. It's important that nobody picks sides here. There's no side to pick here. What needs to happen here is justice. That everybody is served by justice, and it's not a zero-sum game. Getting justice for the Martin family does not come at the expense of getting justice for any other person in America. So law enforcement has to stay focused and understand that it's about justice.
And it's important to note, no professional in this case tried to drag the president into this case. A father who's in all sorts of trouble and emotional trouble did that. For Right Today, I'm very sorry we didn't have more time for you. We got to wrap it up here. Charles Blow, Jonathan Capehart, Eugene O'Donnell, thank you all very much for joining me tonight. We're going to continue this conversation of the case after this show with the panel. We're going to keep them here to talk about it. We will post that segment at msnbc.com later tonight. The Ed Show is up next.